Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indie Weekend, hosted by CubeTubers. Now, we have all kinds of stuff happening in this event. This is the pre-show. The event has not officially started. It will start in 30 minutes with our first guests. Our first guests are actually going to be Captain Sparkles and OMFG Kata. So welcome everybody. This Indie Weekend event is all about supporting indie games. And if you don't know what an indie game is, I'll explain it to you real quick. Indie is of course short for independent. So an independent game is basically a game that is not created and hosted by a large corporation or a large publisher, and instead is a smaller company. Basically, they're independent of all the other large publishers, and they usually only have one or two games that they publish. Minecraft is actually still considered an indie game, at least to me, even though it's been hugely successful and has made lots and lots of money. It's still an indie game because it's still independent. Notch has not yet sold out to, Electronic Arts or any other large corporation. So we got some of our newest members to the SMP here. This is our build test world on the SMP. Let me go over some of the stuff about the Indie Weekend before I actually show off the SMP for you guys. So we do have a lot of interviews. We have a lot of games featured. They're all indie games. We will have some Minecraft. We'll have some Terraria. Most likely, I think we'll have Terraria. Is that how you do that? I was wondering. All right, let's do that. Chat. Clear chat. So this weekend is 3 days of events. It starts in 30 minutes, about 25 minutes now. It ends at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. So we're going to have several different game companies, developers that are going to be here for interviews. We've got interviews with Fractal Softworks, creators of Starfarer. That's going to happen today. We'll have the Indie Stone, the creators of Project Zomboid. That's going to be happening tomorrow. We're going to have Quest Store. They're the indie company that makes Link Realms, which is the MMO that's still in beta testing that we actually had some streaming of yesterday. We're going to have Gaslamp Games, who is a really cool company that makes a really amazing game. I'm actually going to go ahead and fly so I can give you a better view. Do not fly on our server, though, unless you're a moderator. We use it for moderating or to get... It's a great way to show off all the amazing creations in here, so I'm going to use that, including those ships. Those are incredible. Did it freeze? Oh, God. No way. Is it back? Is it still gone? Shit. Apparently I froze. Great. Didn't freeze for... Okay, only froze for some.
I have no idea. I can't have the stream open. My internet's being dumb right now.
Okay, apparently it's back now. Okay, froze for a moment. So, as I was saying, we've got Gaslamp Games. They're going to be here for an interview. I'm actually going to be interviewing them. They're the creators of Dungeons of Dreadmore, which is a really addictive, roguelike game, which is basically like a dungeon crawler type game. Most roguelikes have permadeath, randomized dungeons. We're also going to have George Moro Misato, probably pronounced that wrong. He's the creator of Transcendence. He's not necessarily scheduled to be at the event, so we don't know if there'll be an actual interview with him or if he will make it, but we'll definitely have at least one stream of Transcendence, which is a free indie game. And we're going to have Pixel Loop Studios, creators of Ruffle. That's also another maybe. They may not actually be here, but hopefully they will. In addition to all the indie game companies and indie games we're going to be featuring and interviews with developers, we're also going to have a lot of YouTubers, a lot of your favorite Let's Players and YouTubers, including Captain Sparkles, OMFG Kata, Minecraft Chick, Paul Soares Jr., Dope Lives, Eat My Diction, Welch Pixie, Husky Mudkips, I Am Spoon, and possibly others. We have some last-minute guests who may also show up. Plus, stay tuned for, I believe it's Saturday night, we're going to have a super special surprise guest. Or is that Sunday night? Oh gosh, I should have had the information. It's going to be, oh, is he gone? Oh, Mudkips will be back. Oh, I think, yeah, he'll be back later, I think. So we're going to have lots of your favorite YouTubers, we might have, y'all, actually one of, Honeydew was here earlier, actually, in the chat to hang out with us, but they're not actually scheduled to stream. but they might hang out with us. It's on Saturday night. So Saturday night we're going to have a super special surprise guest. It's a big surprise. Even I don't know who it's going to be. That's how much surprise it is. So definitely be here Saturday night to see that. We're going to be giving away games too. This is not just about supporting indie games. It's not just about featuring indie games and helping to get exposure for some of the lesser known indie games, because we all know about Minecraft. Most of you have heard about Terraria. But there's a lot of smaller indie games that haven't gotten quite as much exposure. And a lot of them deserve to have a lot of exposure because they're often quite entertaining, quite engaging, quite interesting. So we're going to be kind of bringing attention to a lot of those games. We're also going to be giving away games. So if you want some free games, we have a lot of ways we're going to give away games. We have, I think it's over $400 in games that we're going to be giving away over the next 3 days. Now, there's at least three different ways that we will be giving away games. Codes will be randomly posted in the thread that's on the forums. Someone can probably put a link in the chat for that forum thread. So make sure that you've registered on our forums so that you can actually have a chance to win. We're also going to be posting codes randomly in the chat room or on the stream overlay. So watch the stream overlay, which is that little thing in the bottom left that shows you what's happening on the stream right now. And we will be putting codes on the Twitter, the YouTube, and our Steam group. So if you want to have a chance to win some of those indie games, then make sure that you go and follow us on Twitter. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to us on YouTube, or at the very least be there at the YouTube channel so you can see the most recent stuff. And if you have Steam and you play Steam games, which you really should, if you can get a Steam account for free. There are some free games you can download on Steam now too. So if you join our Steam group, now all those things can be done at the top of our website. If you look at the top right, there's 3 different links that will lead you to our Twitter, our YouTube, and our Steam group, and that's where you can go to sign up for those. So I'm actually going to do a little flying around to show you some more of the build tests as I continue to explain what we've got. So we've got lots of games we're giving away, like 3 copies of Limbo, 3 copies of From Dust, 1 copy of Capsized, 5 copies of Dungeons of Dreadmore, 1 copy of Borderlands Game of the Year Edition, which I don't know if Borderlands is technically an indie game, but it's a really good game. It's one of those big budget games that's still a lot of fun. A copy of Terraria, 1 copy of Gary's Mod, a copy of Oblivion Game of the Year Edition, 4 copies of the Humble Indie Bundle. I always mess that up. I always want to say Humby Bumble. 4 copies of the Humble Indie Bundle, which is actually, I think it's, 5 different games in that? 4 or 5 different games. 1 copy of Machinarium. I don't know how you pronounce that exactly, but 1 copy of Defy Gravity, 1 copy of Anomaly, Warzone Earth, and we're probably going to have even more games than that. We've had some last-minute donations, some last-minute games, so I think we have even more than that. Plus, at the very end of the event, which will be Sunday, 2 days from now, today is Friday, obviously, on Sunday night, toward the end of the event, we'll be giving away $100 in Steam games of your choice. Those are the coolest prizes, really, in my opinion, because you can pick. We're going to give it away in $20 increments. So if you win one of those, you'll have a chance to pick any Steam game, $20 or less, of your choice. The bundle has 12? I don't think it has that many, but it has a lot of games in it. So this event is all about bringing attention to these indie games, a lot of the lesser known ones, and even some of the bigger ones like Minecraft, and giving away a lot of indie games for you. Now, you might wonder a little bit about CubeTubers. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about it. This is our SMP, but we didn't start with an SMP. We did start as a Minecraft streaming channel. We're now a general streaming channel with a focus on indie games recently. We might actually start to focus on them even more. We started as a live stream channel about 10 months ago. We've been streaming live, not 24/7, but as often as we can, for as long as we can, for almost a year now. So we're not going away anytime soon. And we didn't just get started yesterday. So make sure that after this event, you come back to see us again. If you enjoy the event and you have some fun with it and you enjoy the streamers and the guests that we have, then it would be really cool if you came back after the event to hang out with us and enjoy the community we have here. We have a pretty good community, a pretty friendly atmosphere. We have a great SMP. But like I say, we didn't start just with the SMP. And what we do as a live streaming website is basically stream games, do game commentary about games, and we have several different streamers that do that. And the idea is to basically give you free entertainment because aside, there are advertisements on the stream itself unless you use an ad blocker, but we actually don't get anything for that. So all the money we get for donations and whatnot goes right back to the SMP and to the website. So we do this basically just to give you guys free entertainment. So if you're bored, you're sitting around and you don't really have anything to do, and you're like, oh, I'm tired of watching TV, there's nothing good on, hop on CubeTubers.com. It may be a recording or it might be a live stream, and if it's live, you can interact with the streamer. And that's what makes live streaming so much fun, so interesting. You can ask questions of the streamer like you guys are doing right now in the chat. Do I stream every day? Almost every day. We have plenty of streamers, and we try to keep the channel very active. So if you have fun at this event, come and see us again sometime. It would be really cool. So we're going to start the actual event in about 17 minutes. And our first guest is going to be Captain Sparkles and OMFG Kata. And if you check the schedule, there should be a link toward the top of the page, and there should be links to all the different games that we're featuring, and links to the different guests that we have. And if you check make sure you don't fly, guys. Only moderators are allowed to fly, and we use it just for moderation. And I'm using it right now to show you guys these cool creations. But regular users are not allowed to fly on our SMP. Make sure you don't do that. So we got all kinds of guests lined up. So check the schedule to see what guests we have. We also have 2 different live stream channels. We technically have 3, but the third channel is not used that often. We have a primary and a secondary channel. So you can go to the primary one to see our primary streamer, which is usually has more more users, and you can check out the secondary otherwise. But this event is not about us. This event is about the independent games that we're featuring. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit about why I feel like indie games should be focused on and why indie games are so awesome. I've felt like indie games were better than big budget titles for several years now. And first of all, it's because they're cheaper. A lot of we do have copies of Limbo we're giving away. This we do. First of all, they're cheaper. Most of the big budget titles cost as much as $50, $60 or more. Maybe even some of them $30 or $40 after the game's been out for a while. But indie games, most indie game developers, because they're a small company or because they don't have as big a budget, they don't ask as much for their games. So most indie games start at about $5, maybe $10 or $15, and go. I haven't seen an indie game that went much higher than $25 or $30. So that's the first reason that I think indie games are great. It's because they're so affordable. The second reason why indie games are great is most indie game companies really care about their community. They really focus on the community, at least the better ones do. And what I mean by that is they're very active in their forums. They're usually very active on Twitter. They actually listen to their users and their players. And they take suggestions from their players. And they incorporate those kinds of things into the game. Not all developers are like that, but most indie game developers are pretty closely in touch with their community. Whereas most of the big budget titles are often looking more at the profit and getting more exposure than necessarily doing what their community would like them to do with the game. Another reason why indie games are good is because, in my opinion, most indie game developers really put their heart into the creations that they make. Because if you think about it, if you work at a very large game company, like let's say you work at Electronic Arts, and your supervisor says, all right, I know you guys were really enjoying that last game that you got to develop, where you got to choose a lot of what content went in the game, but we just got a contract to do a game for this movie. And let's say it's some movie that you're really not interested in, but you work at the company and you basically have to accept whatever job is put in front of you, whatever you're asked to work on. So if your boss comes to you and says, we're going to be making a game based on this movie, and you think, wow, I really don't have any interest in that movie, then your heart is not going to be in it, you know? And indie game developers typically, well, they always pretty much can choose what type of game they want to develop, and they usually start their company, and some of them don't even have a company. Some of them are just individual programmers who just make a game and start releasing it. Those kinds of people get to choose exactly what type of game they're going to make instead of having their corporate bosses, tell them what to make. So typically their heart is still in it, and they are making the game for the right reasons. When a small developer, an individual developer or a small company gets to choose exactly what they do, what they make, their heart is still in it. So they actually put forth even more effort. And a lot of indie game developers sacrifice profit to make a good game. They'll work long hours. They'll work without pay in some cases. They have trouble paying the bills oftentimes because they have to work with a very, very low profit. And in fact, they usually don't even have a very large budget to start with, and they rely on a lot of game sales to actually get their first profit. So a lot of them have to put their own money into it, and so I've found through most of the indie games that I've played, they're more fun and they're more addictive. And I think it's because of that fact, the fact that those developers can really put their heart into the game. And just like anything else you do in life, if you can put your heart into it, you can make a better game. So we're doing this event to support indie games. Indie games need your support too, because like I say, a lot of them have extremely low budgets. A lot of them run out of money. A lot of them have to deal with a lot of sacrifices. And it's a lot of hard work to get an indie game off the ground and get exposure for it when they can't afford to pay millions of dollars in advertising, and you can't afford to hire the very best programmers, and you have to rely on a smaller group of programmers or do most of the coding yourself. Just like with Minecraft, Notch has achieved a lot of success now. He's made a lot of money. But initially, he had to, he probably had to make a lot of sacrifices to develop the game without getting a paycheck until the game started to sell. So indie games need our support. They need us to be there for multiple reasons. They need us to help to donate. If you buy a game that's only $10 but you get $40 worth of gameplay out of it and you play it for hours and hours on end, you should donate a little bit, or buy an extra copy. Maybe you've bought Minecraft and you love it so much that you can't resist, buying another copy for your friend. That supports the developer. Now, some would say Notch doesn't need any more money, but Notch is still a very down-to-earth programmer who still keeps in touch with his community. He uses Twitter actively. And so basically, we feel like we started this whole event to help to support those indie game developers. And there's other ways you can help support them as well. If you don't have the money to help to buy extra copies of a game, or to donate to an indie developer, there's other ways you can help too. You can play their game. If it's a free game, you can play it, without having to even put $1 down. If it's a cheap game, you can buy it and play it, and you can give feedback. You can help the developer with bug reports. You can help to supply ideas and suggestions, and if it's a good idea, they may actually implement it. So there's a lot of ways that you can help support indie games, and we're trying to help support indie games by bringing focus upon a lot of the lesser-known indie games that are a lot of fun and may be very addictive, but a lot of people may not have heard of them. Now, speaking of indie games, one of the indie games we're featuring this weekend, the Link Realms MMO, is actually going to do something special. Right now, the Link Realms MMO, it's actually was in closed beta. And a closed beta means that only certain people are allowed in. Not anyone can test the beta. It means you have to apply for a beta key, and if you get accepted into the closed beta, then typically the company will send you the code through email, and you can actually try out the game before it's even released. An open beta is where a company lets anybody sign up, and they give an unlimited amount of codes, or they have a very high number of codes, like let's say 500,000 codes they plan to give out, and they don't have any requirements for a person to enter the beta. The Link Realms MMO, and once again we will have the developers of Link Realms here to have an interview. Those developers have decided to do something special for you guys this weekend. They have decided to make their MMO temporarily an open beta, just for our Indie Weekend event. So that means that you don't have to apply and wait to get a key in your email to be able to play. You can instead play it if you're 18 or older. It is an adult game, so you must be 18 or older to actually play Link Realms. But if you're 18 or older and you want to try out the beta, for this weekend only, it's going to be considered an open beta instead of a closed beta. They decided to do that just for us, basically, and for you guys that are here for the event. They decided to do that so that you could try out their MMO without having to wait to be accepted. So check out. Oh, I am reading most of this chat. I'm having to do the introduction, so I'm not answering as many questions in the chat. I apologize. Most of our live streamers throughout the weekend will respond to your comments. This is live, Italian Champ. They will be responding to your comments. They won't be able to catch every comment, especially when there's thousands of viewers in here or hundreds of viewers. But they're going to try. They're going to try to interact with you guys. Right now I'm just focused on doing the actual introductions. That's the reason I'm not reading everything that's on there. We have 7 minutes until the actual event starts. The event has not officially started yet. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern in 7 minutes. Do I have a YouTube? I have a YouTube channel, but I don't have any videos on it. So yeah, if you're 18 or older and you want to try out the Link Realms MMO, they're going to make it open beta just for this weekend. 744 viewers. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys for showing up early. That's really cool. Like I say, the official event has not started yet. And once again, this is the Indie Weekend hosted by CubeTubers. The focus is on lesser known indie games, but we will have some Minecraft. We will have probably some Terraria. But most of what we're doing will be to focus on a lot of lesser known indie games. There's so many of them out there, and a lot of them are free. I'll go ahead and list some of my favorites actually while I'm at it. If you don't have any money but you want to try a new game, there's lots of free ones you can try. I'm going to go ahead and list some of my favorites. Transcendence is a 2D space shooting game that also has randomized galaxies. So the game has a lot of replayability. It's a game that has tons of different components that you can put on your ship, and you get to explore the galaxy and hunt pirates, or be a pirate yourself and attack space stations, hostile space stations, or friendly space stations if you want to be a pirate. And Transcendence is completely free, and it's been in development for years. I think almost 10 years now. Another free indie game that you should check out is called Spelunky. Spelunky is a game that's basically very similar to a lot of old classic arcade games. It has addictive arcade game type gameplay, where you're basically exploring cave systems and trying to survive as long as you can. And it's a very difficult game. Oh, that's right. I was going to sing a song. I'll sing a song here in just a minute. It's a very difficult game, but it's a lot of fun. And it's an interesting arcade game because instead of having the same levels, the levels are randomized every time. So it has a lot of replayability as well. And I'm trying to think, there's some other good ones. There's one that I found out recently about, and I haven't actually gotten to play it much yet, but it's called King Arthur's Gold. And it's a free 2D team multiplayer game. If you've ever played Fat Princess on PS3, it's sort of similar to that. It's like a capture the flag type multiplayer game where there's different classes and you can go and harvest resources to help your team. You can be a warrior and help on the front lines. I'm definitely going to sing. Don't worry. We have 7,000 viewers. Oh my gosh. Okay, for those who just tuned in, this is Axebane, and I'm just doing the pre-show. The actual show starts in 5 minutes. I'm not one of the special guests. I'm just one of the admins here at CubeTubers. Oh, 781? That was a typo. Well, that works too. Thank you guys for tuning in. 5 minutes and the actual event will be starting. There's one more free game I was going to mention that you guys should check out. Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades was inspired partially by Minecraft. And Ace of Spades is basically a game that is a cross between Minecraft and Day of Defeat, basically, because it's a multiplayer team-based World War II game that also has building and destroying elements, so you can build your own interactive fort, and you can you can try to destroy the enemy's fort, and you try to capture the other team's intelligence. So that's just a small sampling of free indie games that are out there for you to play. And there's plenty of other cheap indie games that you should check out too, like a lot of the ones we're featuring, like Dungeons of Dreadmore and so on. And I got to mention one more free game that's not completely free, but it's free if you play it on the website or free if you download it for your PC. It's called Legends of Yore, and it is incredibly addictive. It's a role-playing game. It's also a roguelike type role-playing game where you get to explore dungeons. And basically, the game is very interesting because the dungeons are randomized, plus the game has virtually no level limit. You can technically go up to level 4 trillion. Now, it would probably be physically impossible. You'd probably have to play the game for like 500 years, and you have to be immortal to actually reach level 4 trillion. But theoretically, you can reach level 4 trillion. So I'm going to go ahead and sing a song. People want to hear me sing a song, and I've just got 3 minutes until the event starts. So stay tuned. I'm going to sing a song because I've got a request to sing, and the actual event will be starting very soon. And like I say, our first guest will be Captain Sparkles, and I believe OMFG Kata is going to be with us as well, either in the first slot or the second slot. So those are our earliest guests, and then we have plenty of other guests. Look at the top of the webpage to see who all is going to be here. You can click the schedule link to see exactly when they're going to stream. So it's time to sing a song. Now, let's see, I'm probably going to sing Mad World. I'm going to bring up the lyrics just so I don't forget because I'm a little bit nervous, so I don't want to Screw it up. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And I feel the way that every child should. Sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Enlarging your world. Mad world. It's time, folks. It's time for the Indie Weekend. It's time for Captain Sparkles. I know you guys are excited. It's time to go. So I'm going to hand over the stream to Captain Sparkles. He should be starting in any moment now. So I bid you farewell. Enjoy.